Wow, how good was that? 35 goals scored this evening in the Champions League, and you've just seen all of them in the last 30 minutes. And now myself, Joe Cole and Peter Crouch are going to take a bit of a deep dive into some stuff that happened this evening that you might have seen, some stuff that maybe you didn't see. Let's just confirm, though, the results from an amazing night in the Champions League, where Man City scored 5, where PSG and Leipzig shared 5, where Liverpool had that amazing result over Atletico. What an atmosphere in the stadium there. Porto also ran out 1-0 winners over AC Milan. Let's have a look at some of the other results from tonight. Ajax 4-0 against Dortmund. Sporting picked up a big win against Besiktas. Sheriff and their great start to the Champions League season came undone a little bit this evening. And Real Madrid scored 5 against Shakhtar Donetsk. Now, as always, when there's games like this and results like this, there's so much happening across social. Let's just dive into a few comments. And we're going to start by talking about Liverpool and just what this Liverpool team can achieve this season. Dave says, victory for Liverpool, not a vintage performance at the back. We'll look at that in a second, but always nice to beat Atletico. 3 wins in 3 in the Champions League. Salah continuing to cement his place as the world number 1. Dominic talked about the fact that Jurgen Klopp and Diego Simeone didn't shake hands at the end because Simeone rushed off down the tunnel. We've got that, which we can have a look at as well. But this is the key thing, though. Graham says, mad how we can go away to Atletico. So many players play badly and we still grind out a win, some team. And further on from that, crazy game, crazy decisions. Simeone will be livid, but Liverpool got away with one tonight. But in such a prestigious and hugely competitive competition, you have to make your own luck. And they did. How far can Liverpool go this season? What are they going to win, if anything? Champions League, Premier League? What do you think?
Well, they can compete for everything. We was at the game on Saturday. They was outstanding. I was doing the other game, but by all accounts, they wasn't at their very, very best. But I think with Liverpool, it's always going to be, I said at the start, it's always going to be, can they keep that core 13 players fit and firing for all Champions League games and all Premier League games? And they're as good as anyone with that. It's when you go into the depths, when they start look like they lost 4 centre-halves last year. Of course, it's going to affect anyone. But they're as good as anyone on their day, that's for sure.
Well, shall we take a look at the defending for 2-2? Because Joe's right. You know, there were issues this evening, and there's that kind of sense that you can play like they did tonight and still come away with a win, and that is the sign of a good team.
Yeah, without doubt, they weren't at their best, but it's such a difficult place to go. Hostile atmosphere, and they got the result. I think they had to rely on their goalkeeper at times. Defensively, they weren't as solid as they have been in recent weeks, but they got the job done. That's the most important thing.
All right, well, let's have a look at this one then. This is the 2-2. This is the equaliser for Atletico. What was the issue defensively here?
Yeah, I felt Keita didn't cover himself in glory for either goal. I think he lets Felix get away from him here. And I think we'll see the second one here. Van Dijk's body position defensively. You know, it's difficult to criticise Van Dijk, but if he faces up, squares up there, I think, you know, the touch doesn't deceive him from Griezmann. But obviously, if he goes back to goal, he turns full circle there, and that completely kills him.
I think the distance is... He got his body position right, and you can't... Like Crouchy says, this guy's been like a Rolls Royce for many, many years, but he just got it wrong there. But there's a couple of occasions I've seen here where I think he's just been a little bit off it. I still think he's the best centre-half in the league, but he just had an off night, and they still won the game.
Hit play on these Alisson saves, would you, Joe?
Right,
because even if you struggle defensively, when you've got a goalkeeper as good as this...
well, this is the way to beat Liverpool, by going in behind, because look at the positions. But that positioning from him and that game of cat and mouse, unbelievable. Again, Trent, they know he's high.
Look how open they are, though. Look how open they are, really.
But you know, you have to peel off, if you're Griezmann, into the positions that Trent and Robertson leave because they're attacking. And then that's how they was getting in all night with that one. Sorry, I'm going to go back to that one there, Crash. I don't know what you think about this one, but if you go back as the ball gets played in, even in this situation, I think Van Dijk, in this situation here, I still think if you was watching him, I still think he's not as sharp, not as switched on as he usually is tonight. Look, he takes a step. Is he playing offside? Robertson's deep. The line was all off it tonight. But you've got the goalie at the end of the day who can pull you out. And that's what great teams have got. When one of your great players isn't at his very, very best, your goalie here, that's immense, that save. They'll pull you out. He's a massive player.
Yeah, and if they are going to win the league, they win the Champions League, you do need your goalkeeper to be in form, and he's a top goalkeeper.
There was another incident this evening when very easily they could have conceded this penalty. In the end, the referee, as we'll see, he went to the screen on the side of the pitch and overturned it. But playing in games like this tonight, where you don't play brilliantly, but you still come away with the 3 points, and it gives you 9 points in the Champions League, where you know really a draw against Atletico at home and you've made it through. These are the key games to give yourself that really good foundation for this?
This was surprising. I think Jurgen Klopp even said it himself. I think it's obvious that it was a dive. He made the most of the penalty, without doubt. He was always going to do that. But there was contact, and I think once he gave the penalty, for them to go to the screen and overturn it was a big call, certainly in at Atletico's home ground as well. It was a big call, but fair play to him. He had the bottle to do it.
Yeah, I mean, to go to that stadium in particular with Diego Simeone bearing down, and you go to the screen, which you think once they go to the screen, he's going to give it. Like, I think he actually overcooked it, the centre forward like this. He didn't need to dive because there was contact. If he'd have just gone down as normal, he may have. But I think the ref possibly thought he's made a meal of it.
So has this Liverpool team got a weakness?
Well, I think we saw a few weaknesses tonight. I think, obviously, Fabinho is a stronger defensive midfielder than Keita. I think he scored a fantastic goal tonight, but I think they look a lot more solid when Fabinho's in the team. I felt like the high line was too high. There were times where I think Griezmann ran from inside his own half. You can't play... I'm all for the high line. It's so difficult to criticise it because they've been fantastic at it. But with it being that high, you think of later on in stages in the Champions League when you've got Mbappe, Neymar, Messi running at you, you know, with the kind of pace and threat you have. I think if you play that high, it is going to be difficult. But I still think they're the best team. I think they are, for me, favourites to win the Champions League, and I think favourites to win the Premier League.
Big shout. Agree with that?
I agree. I think I said at the start of the league, the English teams were the favourites for the Champions League, and I still stand by that. I think Chelsea, Man City and Liverpool more likely than Manchester United. But if that clicks at Manchester United, then they'll be up there. The four English teams, they've never been that strong. They've gone to a very, very good Atletico Madrid team, not played at their best and come away with a victory. So I don't see no weaknesses in this team. Like I said, the only thing I can think of will hold them back is if they get the kind of injuries they got last year.
Yeah, that's a valid point. I think having watched Man City as well today, I mean, that was a joy to watch at times. It's going to be a amazing end to the season, but I just fancy Liverpool, like you say, if they keep that first 11 together or the first sort of 13, 14 players fit, I think they will.
See you in a
Yeah, a bit of Brentford for you there, Becky, at the end.
I know.
Yeah.
I love Brentford.
Coming up
Big
later on in the
smile
show,
my face.
we're looking at them in part 3. We're heading to Thailand during the show. We're heading to Hong Kong during the show and Zambia as well. But we're going to start in Liverpool with Simon Crabtree at Anfield. Simon, I don't know if you got the short straw or the long straw going there today, because what a performance, again, from that team and from Mo Salah too.
I think it's fair to say today I would rather be in Madrid. The weather is not fantastic here at L4, but it was some game, and I'm sure we'll talk about Mo Salah at some point over the next few minutes because he's ripping up the record books again. A real rollercoaster occasion. Salah, or was it Mo Salah, or was it James Milner who got that first goal? Salah took the shot. James Milner sort of knocked it in, but he said on Instagram this morning that he wouldn't claim the goal. So Naby Keita, a worldie from him from the edge of the area, very similar to that goal that he scored here against Crystal Palace. Then Antoine Griezmann got 2 goals before half-time. It was 2-2 again. There were VAR decisions. Griezmann then got sent off for a high foot. I can't get my foot as high as he got his foot, but he caught Roberto Firmino in the face, so he went off. And then a penalty, silly penalty for Atleti to concede. Mo Salah put it in the back of the net. Another record ticked for him, and that all means it's 3 wins out of 3 in Group B for Liverpool. If they win the reverse fixture here in a couple of weeks' time, they will have qualified for the next phase of the competition with 2 games remaining.
Yeah, it was very exciting. It was a real, classic Champions League game last night, considering it was still the group stages. Against Atleti, though, I guess it was always going to be like this. Jurgen Klopp described it as a dirty 3 points. What did he mean by that, Simon?
Just like the weather today. It's this is a running theme with him. Do you remember they played them in this competition last season as well, and then Atleti knocked them out? It was the last game that was played here before lockdown as well. There's been a little bit of a niggly... I don't know how you would say it. It's not banter, is it? But it's whatever managers do along those lines, just throwing barbed comments towards each other. Even at the end of the game, Diego Simeone, who was obviously upset with the result in the end, perhaps 1 or 2 of the decisions that had gone against them, ran down the tunnel without shaking hands to Jurgen Klopp. Klopp played it down. Look, they're very emotional characters, aren't they? They know what you get when these 2 teams face each other. I'm sure they'll bring it back here in a couple of weeks' time. But when he says they win dirty, it wasn't the cleanest of performances by Liverpool. It wasn't the most sparkling that they've ever done, but hey, they got the job done, and it's another 3 points for them.
Yeah, the back pages of the English newspapers today, Simon, I'm sure you've seen them. Cloud 9 seems to be the reference that everyone's going to.
That's how many points they've got. It's clever.
Yeah, well, also, Salah's scored in 9 consecutive games as well, so that works, that works too.
See, that's a record, actually. That's a Liverpool record. Now, we remember we spoke that how it equalled John Aldridge and also Daniel Sturridge's record, and also one going back to 1924 where players had scored in 8 consecutive matches. But yeah, 9 consecutive games that Mo Salah had scored. And I think, as you reflected on earlier, the goal as well that he scored pushes him ahead of Steven Gerrard in the European competition for Liverpool's all-time scorers. And I think he's got it. I've written it down somewhere. He's got those goals in 48 matches, 31 goals in 48 European games. Ian, I know that you would be up there given the chance, but for now it's Mo Salah who's got that record.
You have confidence in Ian. He's sat on this couch for a reason, Simon, let me tell you.
He's a goal scorer.
Let's talk about the game that's coming up at the weekend, though, because Liverpool are in fine form. United fans must be a little bit concerned about this one.
Yeah, as far as Manchester United are concerned, they were left a little bit deflated. I knew there was a word in there somewhere from that Leicester City match at the weekend. They can, of course, make things up maybe against Atalanta later, although Atalanta got a great result here in the Champions League last season. But as far as we're concerned, everybody is looking at that Premier League match at the weekend. And if the players are a little bit deflated, got it right that time, then they will certainly need to lift themselves for what we see as a real grudge match. And it's not just in football terms. The rivalry between Liverpool and Manchester has been going back centuries.
Yeah, Simon, just give us an idea of that rivalry if you can. You called it a grudge match there, but sort of we know this game around the world. I'm sure fans are fully aware of the rivalry between these two teams. But like you said, it's not just about football, is it? It's much deeper than that. It's two cities who have been going head-to-head on all sorts of things for decades, for generations, for centuries.
Yes, they have. I mean, as far as geographically... I need to put my teeth in today, don't I? Geographically concerned, you can see on the map there, if you head east from here, it's just over 30 miles. You could probably do it in 40, 45 minutes or so on a good run. But just to the left of that map that you can see the River Mersey there. Now, traditionally, goods came in. Liverpool was the biggest port in the world a few hundred years ago. And then Manchester thought, we want a bit of that action. They built the ship canal, which then avoided the taxes in Liverpool's port, and they could get the goods directly to Manchester. And that essentially was the start of the rivalry. It started with taxes. Now the points they'll want in the Premier League. It's interesting, despite the fact that between them they've got more Premier League titles and league titles in this country than any other team by some way. The rivalry at the top of the charts hasn't really been against each other. When Liverpool were the best team in the 80s, United were more of a cup team and didn't win the title until Sir Alex Ferguson in that first Premier League season, and then United took the reins as well. So, it was second for United last season, third for Liverpool. United won their first Premier League title, and then you just wonder this time, are these going to be the top two teams? United 6th, I think, at the moment, aren't they? So proving not, but the rivalry is there. It will be intense, and we all want it to be another cracker at Old Trafford this weekend.
Yeah, hoping it's one of those and not one of the ones where we do it all week and build it up and it ends up 0-0. So, Simon, thank you very much for telling us at Liverpool. That has happened many times.
Ian Wright, of course, is in that club. And for someone like Sadio Mane from Southampton to Liverpool, what an achievement.
Amazing. When you saw him at Southampton, you could see that he had so much more. The move to Liverpool, I remember watching him, I think his first game was against Arsenal, start of the season, tore us apart, and you think to yourself, we saw it then, we didn't see it then, but him, Firmino and Salah, what they've gone on to do, but what he does, not only working forward, but what he works for the team, the press and everything, he's a proper striker. And Glenn told me about the players who's done it without scoring penalties as well. He's another one of those.
He's come in with a quiz question.
An unbelievable quiz cousin, Glenn. Can you tell it what it was?
One more time, Glenn, go on.
It was...
What was the question?
He's the third player to score 100 goals without scoring a penalty. Who are the other two?
Well, I got one of them.
And so who'd you get? You
Les
got Les
Ferdinand.
Ferdinand and Emeleski.
Yeah.
But Glenn told me, to be honest. So.
Yeah. No, it's
Since he's retired, he does get out occasionally.
And that's some feat. That's some feat.
It's a fantastic achievement, and what is it? He's the third African to do it behind his teammate Mo Salah. I mean, his rise has been phenomenal, and it's been with his teammate Salah and with Liverpool, the rise of those two in the club has just been fantastic, and he capped it off on Saturday with his 100th goal. But
He did, yeah.
I'm sure there's plenty more to come.
Let's have a look at that chart because the figures are excellent reading. Sadio Mane, there he is,
Wow.
100 in the African players, and Salah is obviously going to beat the great Didier Drogba. They're locked on 104, Adebayor on 97, Yakubu on 95 as well. And talking of Mo Salah, we saw another stunning individual goal there.
You know something?
At Watford.
I remember where Mo Salah, I said he gives you Messi vibes, and we've seen him in the last couple of goals what he's scored, the one against City and this one as well. I got absolutely cooked for mentioning it, because if you mention people and Messi and stuff like that and what they're capable of doing, if Messi scores that, you say, oh, that's amazing. That's the kind of thing that Messi was doing when he's doing his stuff. Look at how many players around him. Look, control, skill, look, amazing. Look, he's gone past it. And, like, you say stuff like that because it's just your opinion and you get absolutely cooked for it. And look what he's doing now. At the moment, Mo Salah's probably the best player in the world as we speak.
And he does that against Watford. Of course, let's remind ourselves what he did against Manchester City as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, he does it against everyone. I mean, he's so underrated. People have just started talking to him as the best player in the world, Brett. And I think he is, without doubt. I mean, he just goes about his business week in, week out. He's an FPL favourite for most people in the game, and captaining week in, week out. And he produces the goods over and over again, goals galore. If he's not scoring goals, he's producing goals for the team, creating goals. He's phenomenal, and I think we've just got to enjoy him while he's at the peak of his powers.
OK, 2 goal scorers then. Which goal do you prefer, City or Watford?
I think the City one as well. I think the City one, because it was even more. It was so important. By now they're just running the show in this game. I think the City one was so good against like top quality defenders who, you know what I mean, have got unbelievable defensive record, and he just made them look like kids. Look at them, look on the floor, players, and now you got Laporte here, you know, bam, broken him, you know. It's just like, and then Edison, bam, just, you know, floor. Look, Diaz on the floor.
I do. I mean,
the
the City one, it's against better opponents, definitely, but I do like him stroking it home with his left foot when he's cut back in against Watford and finding that far corner. We're so used to seeing it, and I thought it was quite an iconic goal.
You say he's the best player in the world right now. Liverpool's done unbelievable business retaining their big stars. He's the one left. I mean, how big a decision, how important is it they just get it right and get him signed?
Well, I think that what's got to happen is that, you know, you can't sign a player, Steve, on what they've done, not in this time, not in this day and age, but, you know, we're talking about Mo Salah what's he going to be like when he's 32? You know, he's somebody that looks after himself. But you like to think that probably Liverpool would have sold him by now if everything didn't happen how it was to finance what they wanted to do. But now, you look at someone like Mo Salah, he's playing the kind of football now when he first came, unbelievable levels he's reached. So you have to say that he'll probably do that for the next 3-4 years. So then we're talking about a lot of money that Liverpool probably going to have to pay him a week. So do they see the worth in that? If they do, they've got to sign him, you know, because who else will take him right now?
Huge moment in Liverpool's current
Pay him
history.
the money. Pay him the money is the difference. Without that, and do you know what I like about him? Is how robust he is. Every week he's fit. He gets kicked from pillar to post and he's fit every week. Never misses a game. Goes on international